Truth and Mystery with your host, Dr. Douglas James Cottrell. We are journeying together through the deeper meanings behind today's world events, ancient wisdom, and the quiet whispers of the divine. We're going to reflect, remember, and reconnect. If this is your first time with us, welcome to the family. Make sure to follow us and ring that bell, check those checks, and click on that link to subscribe wherever you're watching and listening from wherever you are in the world. This show isn't just a broadcast. It's a broadcast with intention, with spirit, and with love. Now, here is Douglas.
Welcome, everyone. It's great to be with you again tonight. We've got an exciting show for you. Just recently, the American government has released the files on UFOs, I guess Alien, Area 51, and all those juicy stories we've been hearing about UFOs over the last decades. So tonight, we're going to discuss that. UFOs, extraterrestrials, and the possibility that we're not alone. Recently, as we have begin to see the jet fighter planes chasing UFOs, they've been able to fly through the air, they've transmitted into the ocean, but this is not just in the West, this has been happening all over the world. Huge sightings have taken place in Russia, in the Far East, and in places that, well, they're not quite popular places or well known, but these alien ships or these phenomena that are around us seem to show up all the time. Governments around the world have acknowledged the existence of these unidentified aerial phenomena, which is a new term for UAPs, that defy known aerodynamics. Crafts that can accelerate beyond capability that we have with our own planes, lights that maneuver without visible propulsion. So tonight I'm going to ask you, do you think, are we alone? Or have we been here with our neighbors from the cosmos all along? If so, send us an email or put a question in the chat and let us know why. For decades, UFOs lived in the shadows. Whispers about UFOs have existed in late night radio shows, and they have been dismissed by the authorities, but they survive in conspiracy theories. I've been on many, many shows where there has always been an active investigation, proof of these vehicles, these unidentified flying objects with us. In 2017, the New York Times confirmed that the Pentagon had a secret UFO program. Since then, U.S. military pilots have testified before Congress describing aircraft with no visible engines, hypersonic speed, instant acceleration, transmedium travel, air to water without resistance. These are not backyard sightings, although on my show, The Global Village, we've had people come on and tell us about their sightings when they were children. So there have been eyeball sightings of them, and there are many, many people who are the secret minority, or a secret majority, perhaps I should say, that have had these sightings. And some have even claimed to have been, hitchhikers of the universe. They've been taken on board vehicles and craft and have recounted how perhaps medical experiments were taking place on them. Do you have a little triangle mark on you anywhere, on your big toe, or on the back of your hand, or somewhere on your head? Apparently, and I have seen them myself, these scars are indications that people have been examined while they've been on board UFOs or flying craft. Have you had that happen? We want to know about it. Let us know. Send in your story by email, and Oz will let us know who you are. Well, not who you are, who your name is by your email, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. You know, this is not just a recent phenomenon. This is not some excitement that everybody's the American government is now releasing its files. Back in 2005 in Canada, the Minister of National Defense, Paul Hellyer, publicly stated that he believed extraterrestrials were real and that governments had known about them for decades. This is what he claimed. multiple species have visited Earth. What? Multiple species? They've been here to Earth? Some may already be interacting with world governments, he says. Advanced technologies have been reversed engineered. Now, whether one agrees with him or not, doesn't matter. This is a senior government official, Minister of National Defense. It is remarkable that a former defense minister would speak so boldly. He became one of the most high profile political voices advocating transparency back in the day. That was more than 10 years ago. Of course, there have been many voices since. What do you think about that, my friends? Do you know someone or do you have an opinion about government and how they should be more transparent like Paul Hellyer was? Let us know. Give us a text, or sorry, in the chat, send us a text and or email thesoulreportlive@gmail.com. Could there be an agenda with our visitors from outer space? Well, intellectually, I would say yes, there must be. Are they here for, like tourism? They traveling just to see Earth again, or what's Earth all about? What are these crazy people on this planet Earth doing to each other? This beautiful blue marble, as one astronaut once described it. Ed Ullner, I think it was. What's going on? What's happening over there? Let's go visit Earth and see these backward people. Perhaps they think of us as cave people. I don't know. We do carry big sticks and we do tend to hurt one another, don't we? We still eat meat. So maybe that's something. Maybe aliens don't eat meat, or maybe they eat something else. I don't know. I hope it's not humans. Oh my gosh, if that was the case. My friend and mentor Ross Peterson, when asked about this back in the mid 70s, said that he believed he was in a state of meditation, he believes that these vehicles that we see are images of Earth's past. The Earth people in the past have projected themselves forward into the future, or they are reflections, a mirage, if you will, a memory of what Earth once was, and that these sightings are basically what we used to be as humans, as we know humans, upon the planet. Now, there's a take that was pretty unpopular. It wasn't well voiced back in the day, that Earth had vehicles that could transcend time, or they could go between dimensions, and they could therefore appear here in our presence as well as exist somewhere in the past, or perhaps in the future coming back to have a look. Wouldn't that be interesting? I wonder how the Earth walked into World War III. Let's go back and have a look. Let's sit in the bleachers from the other side of the moon and have a look, they might say. Well, these are all thoughtful speculation, but if extraterrestrials are real and present, their possible agendas might include, as I've just said, observation, like, those archaeologists and those anthropologists studying a developing species. Environmental concern, perhaps, monitoring for nuclear weapons, climate instability, planetary risk, perhaps preparation, guiding us gradually, introducing us to a higher cosmic community. Wouldn't that be something? Non-interference, following something like the Prime Directive, allowing us to evolve naturally. It might be part of their agenda. Technological influence, stable inspiration in science and energy systems. In other words, giving us a little bit of stuff, like AI, allowing us to find more concern. Since if it was a horrible thing, I'm just jumping now to the the shutdown that happened with COVID, but the amount of money and study that was going into the small micro world of bacteria and viruses. There was not a lot of money to do that before COVID, and now there's tons of money developing it. And maybe that is a stable scientific progress into understanding the small aspects of the microcosm around us. Maybe that was, I'm not talking about COVID now, maybe that is the intention of our visitors, our cousins from space. or they may simply be explorers. They might have come across us and wondered what we're all about. Remember, advancement does not necessarily automatically mean that they're hostile either. If a civilization can travel across light years, it's likely survived on its own wars, its own crisis, and perhaps they just want to become and observe us and see if we can survive ours. What do you think about that, my friends? Send an email to the Soul Report Live at gmail.com and let us know your opinion. There's many things that are out there, but it would make sense that we have, uh, you know, that we're not alone. A friend of mine in Connecticut, Dr. Robert Grinzel, God bless him, once said years ago that he reminded us that in the Christian Bible, God made everything. He made the heavens and the earth. And since God made the heavens and the earth, he made all things that were out there in space, in the heavens above. And so Dr. Grinzel concluded that if there are extraterrestrials or there are alien people out there, then God made them, and therefore they're our cousins. Why be afraid? It was an interesting observation he made back in that time, and that would have been in the 90s. Some believe that ancient structures like pyramids reflect outside influence. We don't know much about our past. Think about it. We do not know about 30,000 years ago. We have these monuments, we have these stone structures from Stonehenge to the pyramids to the Machu Picchu and Easter Island stoneworks, but we don't know for sure what happened. We're not even sure of the continents that used to exist back in those days. We have remnants and we see that they have submerged and we see evidence of them under sand. When we unearth a new city that's been buried under the sand or the dirt, look at what's going on in the Mayan world in the middle of Mexico. We found that now the cities and the pyramids line up to star constellations. Some young man figured out that he took a star map and he laid it over top of the jungle and he was able to pick where structures existed because he had a notion that this was all done by a star map. They were constellations that lined up with the cities, and sure enough, this was true as people began to explore. So what are we looking for? Well, you tell me, what are your thoughts? What are they looking for? We'll invite them to the show tonight. If anybody's listening with their antenna out there, if they wanted to pop in our show, we'd love to hear from them. They can, of course, email us or sending some information right now. Of course, I'm being a little silly with that. But why disclose now? Why is this, when Star Trek came along and then Star Wars and then other movies, it's commonplace now for everyone, young children to old people like me, to automatically know that or think or expect that there's a federation out there. Planets have come together, different species, all with the common good, joining in a federation of cooperation. And of course, then there's the dark side. There's always the opposite that's tending to disrupt the harmony of people. And we've come to believe that there is this Star Wars kind of mentality, that there are not some nice people out there, but we seem to be able to comprehend that there are other worlds, other species, and other ways to exist, and yet we can cooperate with them in the cosmos. And vast travel across space is possible. Warp drive, for instance. I'm not sure it's real, but maybe there's something like it out there that we can transcend time, sort of like, between here and there, going through what's called a stargate. And there's several serious investigations about the use of stargates, which is, again, a tunnel-like affair, as I understand it, going from one part of the galaxy to another almost instantaneously. So what about this technology that's coming? Are we living in a world where we can be benefited by this new technology with these frail bodies of ours? Maybe they could be instantly remedied with going into a light chamber, maybe colors, maybe sound, maybe vibration, you know, all kinds of things that can happen to us to improve our body. And therefore, maybe we would live to be 150, 250, 400, 500 years, as it says in the good book, people in the past living so long. Maybe that's possible. But again, why is this disclosure now? Technology makes secrecy impossible. That's one reason. Civilian satellite systems catch everything. Humanity is psychologically ready, as I just said. Or global instability demands unity. Imagine what the united human race would be like, knowing that we are part of something larger. Would we carry on in our own little way, you know, isolated, acting the way we do? Or would we have a responsibility to act more mature and to always wonder our cousins are looking out for us or looking after us? And I'm wondering. I'm going to tell you, I had a vision, and I don't get too many about extraterrestrials, but this one was very profound. What I saw was a big white smoke ring, the kind that my grandfather used to take when he would take a puff on his pipe and he would blow the smoke out, and it would float through the air in a perfect round circle, a donut, if you will. Well, I saw something like that, the same texture or consistency, and through that there was nothing on the other side that I could see, but through this ring came some looked like steel ships, like spacecraft. And they came one after the other, like they were a train of craft, sort of like bumper to bumper. They were coming through this stargate very slowly, without propulsion that I could see, without any energy being expressed. They were floating through this star ring. They came, and then I saw one of the aliens. I'm not going to say what I saw specifically. It was a female, but I spoke to it, asked it its name, and it told me. And I also had a special kind of dog with me that I do not have at this point in time. So stay tuned, my friends. I'll let you know when this dog shows up because when it becomes my pet, it was a real earthly dog, by the way. When it shows up, then we can be expecting maybe that visitation is going to occur. But the thought at the time I was having this vision or visitation was that what are the military people going to do about this? And then the thought occurred to me, absolutely nothing, because they couldn't. So the possibility exists from Douglas James Cottrell that this vision is going to come true in the future, where we're going to have a visitation of a large amount of, let me call them, visitors. We're going to come in big ships or craft that look like, well, let's say they look like aircraft carriers, one behind the other. And when they come into the world, there will be no conflict. No military will be able to fight them, nor perhaps should they. If they're coming in such force, it would mean they're coming in force, and they're going to what? Take us over, establish a colony? I don't know. All I saw was that vision. So I'm not trying to alarm anybody. Sometimes my visions come true, more often than not. Many of them are in my book, The New Earth, back there, of these times that we're in, and they're coming true. So let's hope that when they come, they're going to be peaceful. I'm sure they are, and maybe they just need to come in force so they can take the whole planet in hand and get us talking to one another, not scaring each other. Do you, my friends, believe UFOs are extraterrestrial? Well, like my mentor Ross Peterson said, they might be reflections of the past. They might also be some nation on the world having secretly developed these craft that can fly by magnetic and anti-magnetic means. Wow. Have you ever seen something unexplained in the sky yourself? I did. I was in Hamilton and I saw 4 orange globes coming up out of the middle of the city near what would be King and John Streets. And we were up on the escarpment looking down. There were about 12 or 14 of us. And we saw these vehicles, one orange one, then a second one that caught up to the first one, and it continued like a pair. And then a third and a fourth one came up, and they joined up. And then these two pair joined up and became 4 round orange orbs flying in unison. Then they went over towards the Sky Bridge, the Skyway, that's on Queen Elizabeth, toward, in Hamilton, towards Toronto, and then they disappeared. I saw that with my own eyes. Other people have seen it, and apparently there's some video out about that. So let us know if you've seen any of that, my friends, where it might be. The email the soul report live at gmail.com and let us know what you think. Oz, do we have anybody with a question or two?
Yeah, we got a couple questions. Um, One question from user ZM asks, are the aliens physical?
I didn't quite get that. What is that?
Are aliens physical? I
Whoa,
mean,
yeah, the one I saw was she was taller than me, female, had they looked humanoid, and it was physical. I've had other people talk about the Greys and these other alien beings with the big eyes and things like that. They were physical, and I think there's some account of these transparent beings, so that maybe they looked like they weren't physical. But from all the information I have, yes, they are real. They're physical. That's why they need spacecraft to get around. They need to put their physical forms in a protective device. The stories from Area 51, for instance, where there was a crash, for those people who might not know, there was a crash in Area 51, and then there was a discovery of these beings that were physical, tangible beings, and they were taken for experimentation or to try to keep alive, but apparently they didn't live very long, I guess because of the crash. I don't know the story for sure. I'm sure there are many people out there in the audience who would know more about that. We want to hear from you. But Area 51 and the crash site back then and day is well documented. But now we're getting more to actually seeing these vehicles fly through the air. We'll find out more in the releases that are coming out. As I said, Paul Hellyer released something in 2005. France released files through, I'm going to call it Japan, is its official UFO investigation unit under CNES, the French Space Agency. Many cases remain unexplained. France has been unusually transparent compared to other nations. In the United Kingdom, the UK Ministry of Defence declassified thousands of UFOs reports in 2000. Most were unexplained sightings, but none were labeled extraterrestrial. Brazil declassified military UFO documents dating back decades. The night of the UFOs, 1986, involved multiple radar-confirmed sightings tracked by the Brazilian Air Force. Summary for this is, Americans not the only story. It's global. Governments across the world have acknowledged something is happening in our skies. Oz, do we have another question?
yes. Question is, when do you think UFOs will become more accepted by the humans on Earth?
I think it's happening right now. I think there was a survey done a while ago where uh, something like 67% of people believe in something metaphysical, and about the same number believed in UFOs. I would say intuitively 50% of the population would have some agreement that UFOs exist or that it makes no reason why they ought not to exist. We're not alone. To those that are sort of the hard case people, like we can understand maybe a little their skepticism, like before we assume aliens are parking behind the moon, let's examine the rational perspective. Skeptics might include advanced classified military technology, drone misidentification, optical illusions. These are again things that the other side would say. Atmospheric plasma phenomena, psychological suggestion, radar anomalies, AI generated hoaxes. That's going to be more and more in the world, I think. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So far, we have unidentified objects, unidentified flying characteristics, whistleblowing technology, but no publicly verified alien bodies. So these are what the skeptics are saying. But again, uh, mystery does not equal proof. You know, I'm from Missouri. Show me the proof. That kind of thing. Well, more and more that's coming out right now, as we can see. Again, this American government disclosure of the files. We, the people, need to be more diligent. I can tell you on my former radio show, the Global Village, we had people on. One man was his name was I think he was called we called him Truck or something. That was his handle. And he was on a show telling us when he was a kid, his father and himself went out into the field in their around their house late at night. It was in the country, and he saw a ring of red lights coming up out of the forest in front of him. He could see them clearly, and it rose up into the air and then disappeared. He saw that eyeball to eyeball. And so the point being is that how many of you, my friends out there, have seen such things? I guarantee you we're going to see more because we're being prepared. Right now, I believe it, my heart, that we're being prepared to welcome people from, well, let's say beings from off world destinations. You know that back in the day, Orson Welles had a fake broadcast, talk about fake news, in which he fabricated that Martians were invading the world. And he carried on for about an hour with this fake broadcast. And then at the end, it disclosed that it was fake. But meanwhile, people panicked. Widespread panic across the U.S. was taking place. He apologized for it later, but I think tongue in cheek, it showed us that that broadcast at that point in time was terrifying, and people actually believed in that fact that Martians were invading us. And you see the movies, War of the Worlds, and different movies based on that, and that's always in the background. And it was part of the reason I think that the governments decided not to tell the public that we were not alone, because people being people, we would panic. Maybe are we ready to go to war with them? Remember the day the Earth stood still? That what was it? Tobar the robot was a gigantic policeman, and we had this opportunity to deal with the people at the time had this opportunity to communicate with off-world civilizations, but out came the tanks and the soldiers, and somebody even shot the spaceman. To which the rest of the story was his recovery, and to show everybody that there were extraterrestrials among us, he arranged for everything to stop around the world. All electrical devices stopped. Do you remember that movie? Do you remember that one, Oz?
Yeah, yeah, that was a good
That,
one.
that was a pretty profound one then. Will that happen again? Mm. Uh, have more questions?
Yeah, there is. Um, why are there not good physical photos of aliens? I might suggest, although I don't know that there's any good photos, but if you're looking for physical evidence, there is a show on the History Channel that really will make you think, called Skinwalker Ranch. And I would recommend you take a look at that show and see what you think. See what you think.
Well, also, if you look in some of the carvings of ancient temples, you'll find there's evidence of this, and I'm sure you can easily find it, that there were carvings of a being wearing a helmet and a backpack high up on a temple that had been more than 1,000 years old. And there it was, a perfect space burn. There are other, in the Hindu temples, they have um, beings sitting in spaceships. They're sitting in vehicles like a motorcycle. And in the again the Aztec or the Mayan stone carvings, they have beings sitting there as if they're sitting on a motorcycle, leaning over, and they have themselves um, in a covering. In Hindu temples from 5,000 years ago, Lord Shiva is coming out of what appears to be a spaceship. He's got his hands on both sides and he's stepping out of something. I saw that not too long ago. So there's evidence of this. Now, I once was looking on, I think it was YouTube back in the early days, and there were all kinds of sightings with people taking pictures on their cell phones and posting them back in the early days. So I would say there's a lot of evidence. It's just not validated. There's always some reason or some skepticism that says it's not real. But there are out there. They're there. As Jack said, there's various places right now that have websites that show the evidence of these ancient travelers. Unfortunately, AI is everywhere, and so it makes us doubt what we really see. I think it's a crying shame that people would post up willful forgeries or manufacture pictures and attempt to confuse the issue or see what kind of mischief they can get in and try to dissuade us from the truth. It's really, well, it's injurious to the people. Why they do it, for a laugh or a kick, I understand it, but please don't do it. Have another question, Jack?
Yeah, there's a question about, do you think the aliens have come in the past and are inhabiting hills or places in areas?
Well, that's that has been debated or suggested that they're observing us, just like Star Trek, trying not to break the first directive would be hiding in the side of a hill, observing some primitive culture. Uh, there's been suggestion of that they have bases here under the water. There's a lot of activity in the Antarctic right now, and I had a bit of a dream about that, about something going on in Antarctic. And I suggest that we're better with a community of extraterrestrial visitors secret themselves than under the ice caps. North Pole, for instance, is totally under ice. There is no continent in the North Pole, although the North Pole is in the proximity and in the sovereignty of Canada. There is no actual physical uh, Earth underneath the North Pole. Under the sheeting of ice and Antarctica, which is pretty mysterious. Scientists have gone there for years, but they go for a short time and then they leave. And it's been, I think, by international decree that there's not going to be any colonization or development in Antarctica. Well, maybe with all the ice melting, pretty soon it will turn into a resort and people will go there. After all, it's just this far away from the tip of South America. We'll see about that. I'm smiling as I say that, my friends. But again, would they hide on us? Maybe. Would they be able to assimilate into our culture? Well, according to, again, the defense minister from Canada, Paul Hellyer, they're right now among us, right now, and they have been since he was talking about this in 2005. Question us.
We have quite a few questions. Like what do you think? How do aliens communicate? Do you think they use telepathy? Uh, how can you explain that?
I would think they would have their own form of communication. Whales communicate with each other with sounds. A higher developed mind or beings communicate telepathically. Many spiritual people here at higher levels in the spiritual worlds and temples communicate telepathy. So, of course, one of the things that I found interesting is when you see some of the temples, these alien beings have something that looks like a wristwatch around their hand. And they're wearing it, and it's in temples in different places. And also, they have a little thing that looks like a purse. It's a round handle and a square thing about this big. You see it? And they're carrying that all over. So maybe these are communication devices. Maybe Dick Tracy's watch back in the 1950s wasn't such a futuristic view as it was back then. I know that's beyond most of us out here, but Dick Tracy was a famous cartoon character. He was a detective and he had a wristwatch that was a radio. Okay, maybe that came from some reference back in the day. Next one. Was.
Trying to have some problems there. Let's see. Yeah, we have another one from YouTube. Question that a person, they said they lived in an area that was supposed to be sort of supernatural as a child, and they saw a swarm of aircraft in the sky, but when they called their family, no one saw it.
Well, that's
So
another phenomena that only some people can see things right in front of them and other people can't. Now, I'm not sure if that's because it's um, a, a mental thing, like people can perceive different colors of light. Most of us see in a spectrum of light very narrow, but above and below our spectrum that we can see, there are all kinds of light. We just can't see them. And so maybe that person who was seeing these aircraft or these space vehicles could see with a little extra special vision. We can't see ultraviolet light. We can't see infrared light. I'm talking about at the higher levels now. They're beyond our normal vision. I know we can see red light and how can we see purple light, but I'm talking about higher levels of light. For those people, please don't jump on me and say, yes, we can see infrared light, we can see green lasers and things like that, but we're only seeing in a small, narrow, what's the word, frequency of light. Next
yeah,
question.
say wavelength. Yeah.
There we go. Wavelengths. Next
Yep.
question.
We got a question here about one of your books, The New Earth. They're asking, is there a newer version, or is there multiple versions of it?
Well, one's coming. This one is a few years old, and the predictions that I've made in that, many, many, many are coming true, including what's happening right now today. So yes, we've been contemplating some more research project and an update on the new Earth. After we're looking forward now into 2030 to 2050, and you've heard on this show saying I had a vision where I was soul traveling, and I was 50 years in the future from 2024, and the people 50 years, and then I jumped 5 more years after that, couldn't understand or had no memory of what happened right now, meaning 2024. The world had changed so much. It wasn't nice, it wasn't skyscrapers and buildings, it was more agricultural. So we'll be talking more about what's going to happen beyond 2030. We're going to go through some difficult times right now, and if I can get the book up to speed here in the next few months, we'll get another edition out. Thank you for the question, and thank you for uh, the, thank you for the inference about having a second edition. It's worthwhile. We do the things we've seen. I've mentioned here on the show. We've also mentioned them on our spiritual services. We have a Sunday service. You're welcome to look at that. It's Many Mansions International Ministries, and there we make predictions. I was predicting a few weeks ago about the snowstorm coming from the northeast, and I had women going out over some rocks to an island, and looking, and they could see this huge northeast storm coming in, and they all ran back. Well, that was Long Island that I was on. That went out into the ocean, and people were out having a look at this northeaster. This storm bomb is taking place right now, and I had that vision, I think, more than 2 weeks ago. So occasionally I have these visions. They come to me spontaneously, and then I mention them during our services and here on the Soul Report Live. So, as I've said tonight, so stay tuned. I give you freely what I see. These prophetic visions come to me all on their own. I don't provoke them, but it's my mission to let you know what I see, so you can be prepared, my friends. So be part of our community. Please subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. Send the video off to other people that of this show that you think would love to hear about this kind of information that we're sending out, and it allows us to grow. The sooner the better, because more and more information will come to me that we can share with our good friends and audience here as we're doing tonight. Next question.
Yeah, this is a little bit more about the future, but what do you think about spring? Question, do you think it's going to be a little less intense than winter's been? And how do you prepare? How can you prepare for extreme weather?
Be prepared. The Boy Scout motto, right? I'm just thinking now, and it occurred to me yesterday, it's time to stock up and have a few weeks worth of food in the basement. It's just floated in my head. Being aware or being intuitive, these things come to me as they do you, my friends. Pay attention is the key. When you have a notion or a little nudge or something very quietly come to mind, that's the universe shouting at you with a megaphone. But you hear it in a still small voice. You don't need to be in a state of meditation. You just need to be aware. And these things, call them telepathic, call them clairvoyant, or whatever you like, whatever term you want to put on it. A notion, an idea, an inspiration, a gut feeling. Pay attention. So just the other day I was thinking, I think I'm going to go down to the superstore and pick up some more cans of soup, durable goods, right? I mean, there are a lot of survival products out there. You can buy survival kits where food lasts for 20 years or so. But along with the food that you're going to eat, you might want to stock up right now with seeds to grow your own food and become aware of it. Now, you don't need to have a garden. You can grow food in, get this, pails. I have the blue recycling containers, the square ones or rectangular ones rather. I grow food in that, including potatoes. There's all kinds of information on the internet about how to grow potatoes in bags with a little door on the side. You just peel the bag open and you reach in, grab a potato and close it back up again. When I first found out about that, I thought it was just hilarious. That was given to a friend who lived in, I think, Colorado or New Mexico. She had a vision or dream about that. You see, the thing about extremes is you cannot count on things in the future that occur now. You can't count on it. We all think we just go to Costco and buy whatever we want. We can all go to the bakery, or we can all go to some other specialty store and buy what we want. Well, that's not true. That's not consistent. That's not going to continue to happen. Many people have had dreams about shortages, dreams or visions, I should say, about trucks not being able to drive north. The country right now is going through a terrible time when soybean farmers can't sell their crops. 86% of people growing soybeans can't sell them because of the tariffs Other countries are ordering from outside of the US, which means the markets in the US are going to collapse. That is to say, markets on the commodities. For years, I've been talking about buying silver and gold coins, precious stones and semi precious. Well, today everybody knows the price of gold is over $5,000, $5,200, I think it was yesterday. And the price of silver, oh my God, from $20, it broke through 30, and $105 was the top for speaking US money. I'm not a commodities guy. I'm not predicting anything on how to get rich by commodities. I'm talking about survival. So everybody should have some silver coins. And people who have listened to me over years, this has been going on for a long time that I've been saying this. These are the people that have benefited. I don't know who they are. I hope if they make a fortune, they'll send me 5% or so. That would be grateful for me. But my job is to help you be prepared. So the question is, and back to the point, how do you prepare for hard times? Do it now. Don't wait. If you buy the food, rotate the food too. Don't let it sit there for a year or two. Put it in the back and move it forward as you start consuming the food in the front, and then replace the cans in the back. So you have this constant repetition, or this recirculation of food, so the food doesn't go bad, but that you have enough food that'll last for 8 months or longer. Shortages are here now. How do you prepare for the future? Be prepared. Do you have any lighters? Do you have candles? Do you have batteries? Do you have garbage bags? Do you have bags you can grow food in? Do you have, you live in a balcony, or that you can have a little garden out there? Do you have a lot of vitamins? Do you have water? Simple things. You accumulate them slowly, right? You don't need to run out in a panic. How many toothbrushes do you have? Do you have a case of toothpaste? Like 10 tubes a piece of toothpaste? Do you have mouthwash? Do you have lots of toilet paper and paper towels? Now, again, you don't need to be a hoarder, but you need to have calculating it out. If you're a one person, two person, or a family of 4 or 6 or whatever, you can do the calculations, and AI will tell you, if you're a family of 4, what do you need to survive for 6 or 8 months if you have to live out of your basement or your storage bin? It'll tell you. That's something I never had. But there's an answer to that one, whoever asked that very neat question. How do you survive extremes? You prepare now. Remember COVID, when everybody was rushing out to the supermarkets and the shelves were empty? The people who supply the supermarkets are themselves susceptible to disruptions. Truckers, loaders, warehouses. Remember that. It just doesn't materialize magically. And we are unfortunately going to have more difficulty with the meats. There's going to be less meat for some reason. I'm not going to be specific on that one. So if you have a freezer and you like chicken, maybe you ought to load up a freezer with a bunch of chicken parts. But there's going to be a shortage of meats as well. Next question.
Yeah, this one's about the salt lakes in North America. Do you think they're going to return back to ocean water in the future?
Well, put it this way, if they once were, they can once again become inland lakes or oceans. If you look at, the Death Valley is the lowest part in the continent, and you look at some of the great, I'm trying to, Jack, what's the name of that, Arizona, we have the big red, what's that called?
The Big Red in Arizona?
Red, like the Grand Valley or something like that, or,
Oh, Sedona?
well, yeah, where Sedona is, what's that area in the world? It's everybody, I just can't think of it, my friends. It's it used to be an undersea place. You can see the red clay, and where Sedona is, and those big rifts in the country, or Colorado River and things like that go through, they used to be huge inland water or oceans. And when the Rocky Mountains came up, the Rocky Mountains were formed by two plates pushing together and coming up out of the oceans. Or the Pacific went down, pushing the inland North America up. So you can see it at, I'm trying to think of that. The Grand, is it called just the Grand, anyway, anybody know it? Let me know. I can't think of it. It's on the tip of my
Yeah,
tongue.
are you thinking of Monument Valley or something like that in
Yeah,
Utah? Or,
it's real simple. It's the big red gorge that runs right from one state to the other. Uh,
oh, the Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon, there we go. So simple. The Grand Canyon was all full of water at one time, and you can see the currents, the smooth rocks that were, and that's that red clay at the bottom is the sediment that was underwater. So back to the question, yes, the great salt mines used to be oceans that evaporated, and the salt just was left. You can see it now happening in different places where the ocean floods in, it goes out, and what's left is ice cakes of sea salt. So yes, they're going to happen. But the coastlines are our vulnerability. And I once had an image of a tidal wave coming up the Potomac and striking the White House, just washing it aside, flooding everything out. So much soil so that the plumbing inside backed up and came up into the White House, and the White House had been vacated. That's going to happen. The Parliament buildings in Canada sit very close to the Ottawa River, and like a great ship, like an aircraft carrier, it's going to tip over and slide headlong into the water itself. This is due to the I think it might be, well, anyway, it's a fault going between from America, the Appalachians up into Canada. That's going to open up. The St. Lawrence River is going to open up, and seawater is going to come in and make Niagara Falls run backwards. Lake Erie is a very shallow lake. You can look down and see it. This is the first year where it was so cold that Lake Erie froze over completely. Normally, the other Great Lakes don't freeze because they're so deep and they have currents, but Lake Erie froze over completely. So Niagara Falls will run backwards. Why? Maybe there's a shift. It's 117 feet difference between the upper part of the falls and the lower part in the Niagara River. Well, it could be that the shift happens in the fault this way, or that the water comes in and floods, and does so and makes Niagara Falls run backwards. That's an Edgar Casey prediction, by the way, not mine. But I agree with that. Next question.
Yeah, we got a question about, um, you know, well, we're going to go to the Middle East.
Oh, okay.
And and the question is, what do you see for the Middle East in the near future? Do you see anything? Do you
I've
see?
predicted on this show more than once that I had a vision of um, blue recycling boxes. They were coffins, and there was no lid on them, but inside were U.S. military soldiers, Marines, sailors, perhaps. And it was very important that on the outside of the blue box there was a metal um, name tag that had a number on it. It was very important about having this number. And they were stacked one on top of the other, just like you would nest blue boxes, plastic blue boxes, one on top of the other. And they were about 6 feet tall or high, 4 or 5 high. And as far as I could see in front of me, there were rows on left and the right. And as far as I could see, there were these boxes or these coffins, and they were all radioactive. The Ayatollah over there, or the leader over there, has said, we're not going to back down. Remember, they just killed 30,000 of their own people, according to intelligence, through the uprising that was happening there a few weeks ago. And they have said, we know how to sink ships. So extrapolating that, I had this vision about a month or two ago that there were going to be these horrific losses, military men being put in plastic containers and then put in a cavern. It was like, a wine cellar kind of underneath a cavern. It was all brick lined, by the way, and as far as I could see, hundreds, if not thousands, of these containers. It could be that what's going to happen in the Middle East is that retaliation is going to happen, and it won't be nice, because basically the government has been lucky, not suffering very many casualties with all its military activities or acts of war that have taken place. But my friends, karma is karma. What you give out comes back. And unfortunately, the aggression has gone out around the world in the last few months, especially, Iran has been bombed by the nine, I might be wrong, but it was nine bunker buster bombs that went there. And now there's an intention to bomb the nuclear reactors or sites in Iran. Not good. Not good at all. There will only be one nuclear explosion, and then everybody will sit back and pay attention. It was Nostradamus who predicted in one of his stanzas that we, the people, were walking towards World War III. Well, that seems what we're doing now, incrementally, slowly, aircraft carriers showing up, sides being taken. The cartel in Mexico has just had a bit of a civil war in Puerto Vallarta. You may have heard about this. The Mexican government has gone after cartel leaders, and they've arrested them, or they've had a shootout. And now we have this for people in Puerto Vallarta, tourists trying to leave and get out of this place that some have described as a war zone. Stores bombed, and burning fires, and cars being burned out all over in retaliation for what the government has taken against the cartels. The cartels are not to be underestimated. Understand that, my friends. So as we move towards this time, the Middle East, you can expect that there's going to be the tinderbox, as Ross Peterson or Edgar Casey called it. The tinderbox is going to be ignited. The thing in Gaza, which is horrific genocide, I know the cause of what happened was equally horrific. I had a vision, which I mentioned that before on this show or at my church service, of little children being hurt with heavy weapons, so much that I couldn't look at it in my vision. As my soul was seeing this, I looked away. These are the times in which evil is mounting, in which there is the extreme and the negativity. People just don't care. Or there's this, call it, how can we say it, that human value, the life is not human, the human life is not valued. This is terrible. It's a them or us. What's going on with the immigration, police, just horrific. However, the pendulum swings both ways, and so when you see the innocent being affected, then the country's affected, and so that the people in charge of the country are, what can we say, steered in the right direction, that their actions are amended, corrected, and maybe that's why the aliens are here. They're helping us getting through this time. The question is not whether aliens exist. The question is whether we behave like a civilization worthy of cosmic company. And that might be what's going on here. We're attempting to find our way, and for all too long, we've looked the other way. The point being is that, as George Carlin once said, if you have obnoxious politicians, you have to remember that they came out of the society that elected them. So how do you get better politicians, better leaders? Well, by having better people in the civilization, in the country itself. And more, mark my words, the younger people that are being hurt today, where they have been taken and separated from their parents or their families, where they have suffered unjust, even though they're American citizens, these are the people that are going to remember these times. And when they become of age, they're going to make sure this doesn't happen to anybody else. Just like you or I, my friend. We don't make war on people. We don't hurt people. We don't affect people because we've suffered the pain and we know. And so we're going to see that it doesn't get passed on or duplicated or replicated. We're going to stop it. And that's what these youngsters are going to do. There is a new movement in the U.S. more towards independence. And you'll be surprised that more independent seats will be won this year in the government. I had a vision or a dream where the independents were coming up between both sides. So you're going to have a sort of third party in America. Maybe, just maybe, that's going to be the saving grace. Anyways, we come to a close. I want to say thank you very much to Oz for producing the show. Jack Balick is the co-producer. I'm your host, Dr. Douglas James Cottrell. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. We started off looking outward into space, like behind me, and we ended up talking about being prepared for what's going on right here and now. Remember, to be prepared for the future starts in the present. You can't be prepared for the future because the future is in the future. Got to be prepared for the future right in the present. So I'll say goodnight and God bless you. We'll run out with a commercial on one of my books. Go to my website, douglasjamescottrell.com, and I will take a little nudge about producing more books here as we move forward. God bless you, my friends. Don't forget to subscribe and pass on this video and information. Give us a like. Whatever you can do to help promote the show, I would personally be grateful. I'm here for you. Take care, my friends. God bless and good luck.
Are you ready for the future? A future filled with challenges, changes, and opportunities? Discover The New Earth by Douglas James Cottrell, PhD, a groundbreaking guide to understanding the evolution of our planet. Learn how to prepare yourself and your loved ones for the unpredictable. With insights from the Akashic Records and quantum meditation, this book offers precise predictions and practical advice. Explore how geographic areas will be affected and become a co-creator in shaping the new era of our planet. Over 370 pages of essential knowledge. Secure your ultimate guide to the future. Order The New Earth today.